Speaking of Courage podcast. We're back in studio. Our first guest. We have our first guest in studio, Rob from Infidel Motorsports. What's going on, Rob?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What is going on, Chase?
Not a whole lot, man.
You got the Wetzel letter out, I heard.
Yeah, hopefully one of our recent episodes, Gary Wetzel, wrote a letter. Going to send that off. Hopefully he'll...
Not an easy guy to get through to. Sometimes you can find these dudes on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, but...
Yeah, a lot of the older
Wetzel,
guys aren't going to be up on Facebook and Instagram.
I'm always assuming that they have a bunch of grandkids. That they want to go keep an eye on the grandkids, and we can kind of sneak into the messenger that way.
We'll see how it works. We got a hold of Duran's daughter, so that was
yeah, Duran's daughter and someone else too. Huffstutler's niece.
Yeah.
Niece?
Yeah.
Something like that. Oh, I usually say sister, whatever, man. What's going on, Rob?
Oh, nothing much, man. Thanks for having me,
Navy
guys.
veteran.
Yes, sir.
My man. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for the support.
Who else do we have? We have Josh on the phone, Marty and you guys all three started what's called Infidel Motorsports.
I believe it was, Josh and Marty originally started it. They brought me in probably a few months ago. I met Josh through a welding school. And
very
for
cool.
The last 5 years. And just kind of helped him out, giving him support any way I can. And then he just really appreciated my work, and thank God. And he just asked me to come along, so I agreed. And so
you actually do welding?
Yeah, I do welding.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
For off-road motorsports and stuff like that?
No, actually, I just do stuff for like construction. And things
Oh,
like
yeah?
that. So that's my main job, and then working with the charity is my.
Oh, okay.
side
So Josh and Marty are from Infidel Motorsports?
Correct.
And then you guys do a charity thing together?
Yes.
That's
yeah.
the connection?
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on, Josh? Army veteran?
What's going on? Yes, sir.
Hey, man, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
And then Marty, too?
Yeah, I'm a active duty Marine right now.
Active duty Marine. Thank you guys for your service, man. We appreciate you guys coming on.
Well, thank you for having us.
So, explain, Rob, how did you start getting into the military? Like, what was the...
Well, the main thing is actually I was actually joining prior to 9/11, and then of course a lot of recruiters were saying, "Hey, man, you're not going to be able to go for a while." So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll just send you when you send me. And then when 9/11 happened, recruiter called me, was like, "Hey, man, you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, we'll pack your stuff and like I'll see you at the building like right now."
That fast?
He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right." So I went.
It's funny, we talk about that on the show with Pearl Harbor. A lot of the guys that we have talked about was started with Pearl Harbor. And then
Right.
now the newest generation started with 9/11.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was like the big motivator for you. I mean, you were already enlisted, but that was
Yeah.
like the let's go get them.
Yeah. Well, I was technically always like that. My father was prior Army.
Are you the
and-
oldest brother?
No, I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest. Yeah. My older brother, he's in the medical field, and he's just in debt, and so whatever.
Yeah.
So, but no, I got into it, and then I enlisted, and I just had a blast with it. I wanted to stay, but I just kind of made a decision. Should I get out? Should I stay in? And I chose to get out, and then
Yeah.
I picked an occupation. And that's actually where I met Chase, and him and I worked together for about 7 years.
Something like that, yeah.
And then I left that job. I just wasn't happy with it. And then I wanted to get into welding. And then during the school through welding, that's when I met Josh.
Nice. So, Josh, what made you decide to go the military route?
So actually the same reason, when 9/11 happened, I was a junior in high school, and then I graduated, and then right after graduating, I went to a recruiter, and I was like, I want to join the Army. And they were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to go to Iraq. And they were like, what do you want to do in Iraq? And I was like, fight people.
Oh, so you were one of the warrior types immediately, right?
Yeah, well, I just kind of always grew up kind of scrapping, and so when everything happened, I didn't have too much of a direction in life. So I figured, why not take my scrap and make it something more.
It's interesting, man, because a lot of the people that we've covered have that same thing. Real scrappy, outside military, maybe knuckleheads getting into trouble. They get into the military, and it gives them some kind of direction. So what did you find when you got into the military that really fed that, you know what I mean, fed that desire to get out and get your shit together?
Well, getting out of school, my parents were just like, you got to figure something out, So joining was good for me, kind of got me level-headed, grew up real quick, because right out of the schoolhouse, I ended up deploying. So I deployed early, and so it just made me settle into being in the infantry. I loved it. Fortunately, I got hurt and couldn't play G.I. Josh anymore.
Oh, you got injured while you were enlisted?
Yeah.
Well,
Josh, you were 11 Bravo, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's the same as us, Donnie. Josh, you probably agree with me. Kind of what you were saying kind of touched on kind of the same way I was. When you talk to the recruiters, the slogan when I was going in was there's 212 ways to be a soldier. And it was, oh, you can do this, you can do computers, you can do analysis. But it was like nobody plays, analysis when they're in their backyard as little kids. You want to be the grunt. You want to be the guy that actually has the rifle and you're doing the fighting. So it sounds like Josh and myself and a lot of these infantry guys, it's kind of, why would you want to be anything else when you're going to get, you want to be a soldier to say you're the guy with the gun. That's, again, why people go back and they get out years later and they're lying. Oh, yeah, I was almost like the infantry. It's like no one's saying they were almost a Calf Scout or almost a whatever it was. That's the one everybody wants to be. So that's probably kind of the similar reasons. And then, like you said, with that scrappy background, it's like it's like the big leagues, Why don't you go? You like to fight? Why don't you do it for real? Here you go. And then
Get paid for it.
Yeah, for the time period that we were in. What year did you join, Josh?
2003.
Okay, yeah, I was 2002, so that prime time, man. Afghanistan had kicked off. We were getting ready for the invasion of Iraq, but it was go time. It was put your money where your mouth is. If you're signing up and you're raising your right hand, you're going to fight, period, during that time. So everybody, every branch, we all knew there's a good chance you're going over there. So it says a lot about the people of our generation that did that. When you see other guys that have joined around that year 2000 to 2007 or even later time frame, it's like they know what they're going into. So that's really cool.
So Josh, when you saw 9/11, you said that was the motivator that you had?
Yeah, like I said, my parents were also prior Army as well, like Rob. And just growing up hearing their stories, my dad was a combat engineer, my mom was an ammunition specialist.
Oh, that's cool.
So, again, not really having much of a direction in life, joining the Army seemed like the best bet for me. And I wanted to get away from Southern California, so I didn't join the Army.
So did you immediately find something within the military that kind of got everything figured out for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, the brotherhood.
You're right, exactly.
Is something that second to none. You can't replace that.
And that kind of spoke to that part of you, huh?
It did.
That's awesome, man. And your guys' other partner is Marty.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Marty, you're a veteran as well?
He's active.
No.
Oh, yeah, you're active. My bad. I'm sorry. You just said that. So what was your motivator?
I joined later. I was 24 in life when I decided, more or less the court system decided I
we gotta have that too. It takes all kinds.
I was going home after work. I did structural engineering and welding and whatnot. And then as I was headed home, I'd seen a recruiter's office. Well, I figured either way I was going to wear a suit.
There you go.
So that was just a random thought? You just rode by the recruiter's office and said, I'm going to join?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome.
He attempted to join, but he's too short.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's just he was a real motivator in my life. Like growing up, he always had to fight for what he wanted. And he really looked up to the Marines. So I was like, screw it, let me go do this.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. How was your experience? How is it going?
Oh, it's going great. I mean, the technology's leaps and bounds from where we started. And, I'm a log eat by trade, so
That's awesome.
I have my hands in a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's
That's
funny.
cool.
24 is an old man, and
I was just going to ask that.
It's such a kid to us,
Yeah.
as older. But to join the military, you were probably years older than most of the guys you were in there with, I imagine, that are getting started. There's your handful of the older guys, but when I was joining, I was in high school, and I remember the recruiters telling us they hated the high school kids because they're always wishy-washy, and they graduate and they change their minds, or their parents talk them out of it.
Right.
The older guys that have bills and stuff, they're like, hey, I want to join. All right, bus is tomorrow. Right, grab your bag, Like they said, okay, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Let me go call cut my lease and get out of here.
Yeah, what's crazy is that when I joined, there was actually a guy that was in my class that was 36 years old.
Yeah.
I was like,
Really?
Yeah, 36.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, he's like, yeah, this is my last attempt to succeed in life.
Wow.
It's this or nothing.
Yeah, this or nothing, sink or swim.
Do those guys excel? Or it just depends?
He did
Depends.
actually.
Yeah.
He was real motivated. He had a family. He was already well invested in life, and he's just like, I'm doing this for my kids. I'm doing this for my family. So he
Man.
ended up just. I heard. So I think he made E4. He went in as an E3, made E4.
Yeah.
Real quick, and just excelled after that. He ended up just kept going. And last I heard, he made chief, which is basically E7 in the Navy. God, maybe like a couple years ago.
Nice.
Yeah, I still talk to a couple guys from boot camp. It's few far between, but I still talk to some of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of the older guys are more mature, so they
yeah.
get stuff, and it doesn't phase them as much to be
Right.
away from home and all that simple kind of stuff. One of the best guys I ever met, and a good friend of mine, Chuck Smith, he was an older guy when I got to my unit, and he was actually was the general manager of like all Sonics in San Antonio, Texas. Was making a
wow.
good amount of money.
Dang.
Yeah, I was making good money. Just a good dude. He always wanted to join the Army, and he just didn't do it. And then he said after 9/11, he started getting that desire, and he just felt like he needed to serve his country. And then he said he was at a party, and he said two guys came to the party that had never met each other, and they were in the Army, and they just started bullshitting, and they were hanging out for the whole night. And he just looked at them, and he's like, "That's what I wanted. Like, why am I not doing this?" So he dropped everything, left his,
That's awesome.
his good career, and he joined the
Yeah.
Army, and he was there sucking it in the mud with me, and now he's I believe he's a first sergeant now, but Special Forces, Ranger, all that good stuff, Pathfinder, just super badass.
Probably a lot
dude.
more fulfilled in his life, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he is an awesome guy. So, I mean, you get that.
Yeah.
You get those
God, that
guys.
just sounds super boring.
Then you got Rob over here.
So all three of you guys get together and you decide to start a charity?
It was actually Josh and Marty. Like I said, I came in much later.
Yeah.
Josh has been doing this for at least 5 years, I believe, maybe even more. And then finally, he told me, he's like, "Look, man, I really want to get off my butt, and I really want to start and kick this thing off."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Dude, are you with me?" And I was like, "Brother, I got you, man. Like, it's for a good cause. I've always wanted to do something with veterans. When I was in the Carpenters Union, we constantly did stuff, build homes for like veterans. Remodeled.
Awesome, man.
I was always into that. And then when the work was kind of slowing down, and I got the job that I have now, it just kind of kept me, afloat with everything. And then I was just kind of waiting for an opportunity, and then Josh presented me with it, and I jumped on it right away.
So Josh, how did you come up with this?
So, well, funny story. Right when we were
what happened was,
doing the
Yeah.
fab school, when I met Rob, when I had gotten hurt in 2010, and then I was fully out by 2013, and then Marty and I met right as I was going through a bad time in my life. I got divorced. I was going down a bad road. Kind of messed up with the VA. They had me on a bunch of painkillers, kind of just had me messed up.
Right.
And we were sitting around one night, Marty and I, the truck that we started building in 2010, I sold to pay for that wedding in 11, and then I was divorced in 13.
Wow.
Ooh.
When I got divorced, the guy I sold the truck to calls me up, and he says, "Hey, the truck's been sitting in the corner of my shop in Ramona, and he never hooked a fuel system to it, never did anything to it."
So he just bought it
And
from you and
so-
parked it.
yeah.
Yeah, and then 2 years later, he decided he was going to not do anything with it, so he called me, and I bought it back.
Nice. Fresh start.
Marty and myself were sitting in the garage one night drinking whiskey,
There you go.
and I was in my feels, kind of feeling sorry for myself, and we started talking, and we were looking at the truck, and we just decided to start racing. I didn't have a purpose. In the military, we always have a purpose and a battle buddy, right?
Yeah.
So when you got out, and I was divorced, and I didn't have my battle buddy, I didn't have a mission. So Marty kind of put a foot in my ass, and we started racing as a way of therapy for me, and then gave me a purpose, and Marty was my battle buddy. So I had that sense of purpose again, and I might not ever be the next greatest thing off-road racing, but
Right.
I've had a great time. And in doing so, I've been fortunate enough to work with a couple other veterans and bring them out and start showing them what we do. And I've seen great stuff just out of their smiles and the way that they carry themselves. And, they get excited. So
That's
that
awesome.
kind of led into this whole program, focusing more on the nonprofit side and trying to get it kicked off now, to reach out and get a hold of more veterans and show them this program.
So that's kind of your guys' goal and your mission, right? Is to bring those kind of veterans out and show them what you guys do, kind of bring them back into a little bit of a brotherhood and kind of introduce them to that world a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're trying to do is basically have a veteran. We're going to do these group rides where we have 4 to 6 of them come out at a time. We do like a track walk, some classroom stuff,
Oh, that's
crawl,
awesome.
walk, run type stuff that we're all used to.
Very cool.
And I do a drive where they ride with me. So I show them the tracks and I show them what the car's supposed to do and feel like, and then put them into the driver's seat themselves, and I sit in the passenger seat.
Oh, and they get to just go bomb on the tracks?
Oh yeah.
They get a drive.
That's badass.
Yeah. So
And so at the end of it, we're hoping to not just give a veteran a helmet and a car and a high five, but show them the ins and outs of the race world. Then you're breaking into vehicle maintenance, mechanics, fabrication, are getting into heavy equipment to operate water trucks and dozers and stuff to upkeep the tracks, and so kind of trying to spark some sort of fire in them.
That's awesome.
So there's like a whole economy that surrounds this thing that could potentially be a career path for somebody that's struggling.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I think with everything, it's just that even if us introducing to this world, even if they end up not being interested in this, we're definitely still on the side. We're still talking to them about other things and say, hey, what do you strive for? What do you want to do? And if they say, hey, man, I really want to be a chef, like, man, you should do that, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we'll help you out any way we can. Some of us know certain people in that industry and be like, hey, maybe you can do like some time with them and kind of assist them, whatever the situation may be. But yeah, this is what that program is, to give the veterans like a sense of purpose again and to make them not feel alone. Because when you get out, man, you're just like, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
All I've known is this, unless you're like in the IT, specialized. But other than that, I mean.
So what's the background with soldiers that get out that you're seeing as far as like, you know what I mean? What is there a lot of depression or?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of depression. That's what leads to a lot of alcoholism, the drugs, and just violence, everything. And then, and if they have a family, sometimes the family falls apart, and it's just because the veteran feels helpless, and we don't want that to happen. 22 a day is too many lives to be lost, and then. Also, that's not including the family being destroyed and just, and then the kids are growing up, and we're trying to avoid that. We're really trying to help out even the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Josh and I have gone through so many ideas of like, not just our program, but how we can kind of help out other programs. So it's like, hey, hey, my kid's into music. Okay, great. Well, we kind of know people in the music industry, and we can send them this way and then just kind of go.
So there's other programs that do these kinds of things for veterans that you can kind of send them in a different direction.
You guys are kind of networking with other charities.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
So
we're just kind of hubbing it.
That's awesome.
I mean, obviously we're focusing on ours, of course, but if the veterans, still kind of feeling lost, then we want to help them any way possible, and that's the thing that we want to do, and that's the thing that's what drives us. Like Josh said. So
how can people get behind what you guys are doing? Like the public?
Right now, Josh and I were talking, and basically, because right now we did this clean slate. Right now, some of the sponsorships had to drop out because of COVID.
Yeah.
So we're not getting the funding, but I went to my work, and my work gladly threw me a check, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll help you. Like every year, we'll help you." And that was the start. I called Josh right away. I said, "Dude, look, I got the sponsorship for this," and he's like, "That's great, man." So now we're kind of going off of everything. Getting all of our contacts and just trying to advertise as best we can. And so far it's been doing pretty well, and we hope it continues to that way. So that way, that's where the main funding is. And then when Josh starts racing, hopefully that'll lead to more exposure.
Yeah.
And that's why. So
get that profile bigger so you can attract more.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's the thing. So Josh is going to be racing what's an SR1. It's basically just like a single seat vehicle. And then we have the open V8, and that's going to be, I guess the best way I can describe it is kind of looks like a trophy truck, so to speak.
Yeah.
And the veterans will ride with Josh in that, and they get to hit the track,
That's
not
awesome.
actual races,
That's
that's
badass.
badass.
So Josh, how can a company get in touch with you guys to help out your movement that you got going on here?
So right now we are in process of getting our actual 501c3
Right.
paperwork all in order, but we have, we're on Facebook and Instagram and all that.
Social media.
And
Yeah,
that's
social media.
just Infidel
and-
Motorsports is the way to find that on there.
Yeah, on Facebook it's Infidel Motorsports 760, and then I believe on Instagram it's just Infidel Motorsports. Right, Josh?
And Instagram, it's Infidel Motorsports Inc.
Oh, Inc. That's right. Yeah.
INC.
Yeah, because
Yes.
now we got everything legalized. So,
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
yeah. So we went from one thing, and then obviously just had to make some tweaks about the name of it. Other than that,
So veterans that are looking for help as well, or that are interested in joining to be a part of this, is that the best way to go about it as well? It's
Yeah.
through your social media and stuff?
yeah, and then we're gonna have our website up and running. We have another chairman that's working on that,
Awesome.
getting everything situated, and then I think that's gonna be kind of like a better breakdown of everything.
And is this just for combat vets, or is this for all type of vets?
No, this is for everyone,
Awesome.
anyone and everyone. Doesn't matter, disabilities, nothing.
Cool. Very
our whole
cool.
big focus was because of the PTSD was one of the main things.
Yeah.
You know, Josh suffers from PTSD. I suffer from PTSD. Marty, I'm sure he'll suffer from PTSD. So, but
You guys give me it.
yeah, that's a given.
One of the reasons I asked, though, Donnie, is that a lot of civilians might not understand, or yourself might not understand, is a lot of people look at the military guys and they think, oh, combat, that's the only thing that causes it. But a lot of veterans that are struggling, and even those veterans that are struggling, when they're coming home, what they're struggling with isn't necessarily the combat. It's that loss of comrades, that loss of companionship, that loss of purpose, that loss of being surrounded by something where, one, everything mattered, two, everything was structured, and you knew what things were worth, and that merit system, you knew how things worked. You get out in the civilian world, and it's just this like total shift change of everything you're used to, right?
Right.
Used to be, I'm a good soldier, I got my uniform squared away, I have all my equipment, I know my job, okay, cool, I'm good. Then you get out and you're around these other people and they don't have that same drive and they're getting rewarded and you're not, and you're just like, what the hell is going on? Or
Yeah.
You want to deal with your wife and kids a certain way, and it's like, that's not society. It's just
Yeah.
this gut punch of adjusting. And there's guys that were maybe in the Army for 3-4 years in peacetime and never deployed, and sometimes they feel like they're left out in that sense, and they're trying to figure out too, why do I feel this way? Why can't I adapt? I didn't go through this stuff, and they minimize it, but they did go through a lot too, because they joined this militaristic society where you're separated from your family and you go to boot camp or basic training or whatever, and you're living in this world where you're surrounded by your brothers or your sisters, and
Right.
know the at any minute you can get deployed, or you can go this way, or you have to do what you're told, and then they just kind of take the floor out from under you. So it's
Yeah.
hard.
So
in
what
that
was the
sense.
feeling like for each of you? So you go in, you have purpose, you feel alive, you're thriving, and then you're out. What do you go through?
Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with Josh.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I just lost my whole train of thought.
It's all right, man.
I cut you off. Sorry.
You're just talking about when you're in the military, you have your purpose, you got your thing going, you're thriving, and then you get out of the military, you get injured, and you get out of the military. What are you struggling with at that point?
Well, for me, when I went through it, it was just like we talked about. You don't have that purpose of brotherhood, and then with being medicated by the VA the way that I was, almost as a zombie,
Right.
that just turned me into basically a crackhead.
Yeah.
And then dealing with my stuff, it's it gets hard. It gets hard, and it's not fun at all.
Yeah. I could see that. The painkiller push is tough, man. That's an epidemic in and of itself.
Right.
So-
It is. And I finally got away from all of it, and that's what this racing is actually. That's become the therapy of to help me and keep my stuff together.
So that extreme,
So
the
we're just
extreme
trying to
danger and stuff like that, you're still kind of getting a little taste of that on the track.
Oh yeah, so we race short course and stuff. So it's a mile-long track. There's jumps. There's other cars, right next to you, door-to-door racing.
Yeah, that's
And,
badass.
I love it. There's nothing like strapping into the truck and jumping 100 feet and 15 feet in the air.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
that's sick.
So what about you, Rob? You get out. What did you go through?
So my PTSD is different than Josh's. I actually never saw combat, but I did get deployed over to Guantanamo Bay, and for me, I was there for about a year, and for there, I can't really say what I did, but I'll just let your imaginations run wild. I was picked, and I had to do some things that I'm really. At the time, people look at you and they say, "Oh man, you're a hero, you're a patriot," and you feel great at it, and your chain of command always makes you feel good about a lot of things. And then later on in life, when I got out and when I was working my job, I started having like some of the night terrors and just kind of the night sweats, and I'd get up and I'm sweeping my house, like for no reason. There's no reason for me. I live in the suburbs, man. There's really nothing to, so, I'm sitting there looking, I was checking on my kids, and
It's like, is that hypervigilance they call that?
yeah, it's part of it. Yeah. But it just, man, it was just eating me up. And then, I started going through a few more bad things. And then, but yeah, when I met Josh, it started turning around. I started getting the help that I needed, especially through the VA. And it sucks because, with my situation with the VA, I've been having a pretty good experience. I still go, I still get, I still talk and everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty much very mild now. But with Josh, he had a bad experience. And sometimes you get that. Sometimes you feel like the VA it just doesn't like care about you because they're so overwhelmed.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think we really need to try to understand is that the VA gets overwhelmed with so many people with so many problems, or so many veterans with problems. And it's just hard to, and it just, Josh had a bad experience. My experience was pretty good, and I'm still going through it. And then, but we still want to work with the VA to let them know and to introduce our program into the VA. So if they talk to anyone, say, well, hey, when they're breaking it down, they're asking them the questions. They say, hey, so what is it you do? Like, and somewhere along they say the words were, I just like to go fast, or I like to drive, or something. We're like, well, hey, we have a program for you.
Exactly. What about you, dude?
Yeah, see, for me, like, I was in the Army for a relatively short amount of time, and I had a pretty good adjustment because I have, my family. I have really good family structure and stuff. So I got out and I had like a safety net. I had a bubble. And I have my wife. I have the best wife in the world. Good kids, good family. But you still have that. It's just like something's lacking kind of a feeling you get every once in a while. I used to say a long time ago, because I wish I had a Purple Heart so I could consider myself more of a veteran, as stupid as that sounds, and I don't mean to minimize that at all. I obviously, thank God I didn't get one, but it's just like sometimes I look at these other guys and you watch these shows, you read these things, and it's like, God, look what those guys went through, and I'm sitting here fucking playing PlayStation or whatever in my house. I should be over there. I should be back with the guys, or I should be doing this. I have more to give. My wife knows. Every couple years or so, I say, I'm going to join the National Guard. I got to go. And then, forgetting all my medical problems and stuff. The kidney stones and everything. But it's just this longing to be a part of what you used to. And we've talked about it on the show a little bit before, but stupid things like there was guys in the barracks that I hated with a passion. But if they were by themselves, you would go police them up. You would go, hey, I need to get my laundry done. Okay, cool, come on, you motherfucker. Get in the car. And you'd still take them because you had that brotherhood. And there was guys you didn't like, but they'd pick us up for Thanksgiving, so we weren't by ourselves. And you were always around each other. You slept together. You ate together. You showered together. You know what I mean? Like these are guys you're doing everything with together. And then that just does not exist in the civilian world. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, not at all.
And then there's you talked about hypervigilance a little bit, but it's like weird things with me because it's like I'm 0 to 60. A lot of people know I'm stupid like that, loose cannon. I'm not. It's just when you're facing almost like life and death decisions that you have to make a quick decision, even in training or even, or whatever it is. And then you go on the civilian world and you're doing those same things. Somebody's like, whoa, buddy, calm down. You're like, no, calm down. I can't. This is what I'm here for.
You calm down.
And then on the flip side, you were in the Navy. You got 18, 19-year-old kids dealing with huge amounts of equipment and these multi-million-dollar, like the bosun's mates and all that. Those guys are putting in work that you would never allow a 19-year-old kid on a job site to do, right? Like with your welding job and everything, I imagine.
It's so stupid, man. Like just some of the stuff, because I was on the ship. I was on the USS Theodore Roosevelt for 2 years, and it just, man, just the idiocracy that was on that ship, man. Just run by a bunch of kids. Like I don't know if you ever seen that movie Broken Arrow.
Which one with Owen Wilson?
No.
Christian Slater.
Yeah. And then so there's a scene in there where John Travolta and Howie Long, they're like Howie Long shooting where they have the nuke in the hum, and he's like, would you mind not shooting a thermal nuclear weapon? Like, I would think of that scene all the time when these guys are sitting there throwing tools, and I'm like, bro, you're by the reactor, man. Come on. It's like I don't want to.
Where'd you get to go on the Roosevelt, though? You go anywhere?
Oh, man, I went to all sorts of places. I just got back. Well, when I got there, I hit the end of Enduring Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom. So when I left, so when we went back on deployment, we went to Spain, Slovenia, Italy, Greece, and then I think at the time they were like, "Hey, you guys want to go to France?" And France wasn't backing us up at the time, so we're like, "No, screw."
And how old were you at the time?
I think I was 21.
See, so how many other 21-year-olds go to Spain, Slovenia?
Exactly.
That aren't rich trust fund kids. You know what I mean? Yeah, so he gets to go do all that stuff, and the guys doing the Westpacks and going to all these places, just stuff like that. It's that highlight of your life. It's kind of you're no matter what your job is, you're hitting all these extremes real young, and then you get out and it's just this letdown of a grind, I guess. It's a weird way to adjust. And you hear the terms PTSD, and then if you go back, they have all these other old terms, shell shock, battle fatigue.
Yeah.
One of the old ones from the Civil War, they used to call it soldier's heart, which it captures a number of things. There's actually a physical ailment, they call it, and some other things. And then they would refer to it as nostalgia. And what it literally was longing to be back with your friends and your buddies and stuff like that.
With all that on the line.
With all that on the line, like I said, whether it's, even if you're not in combat, even just in basic training, you go do this. I don't want it too bad, go. So it's a weird thing to get back into the civilian world and to be surrounded by people that aren't in that and that don't understand that.
Especially now in this day and age, right? Because it seems like a lot of the guys that we've highlighted from World War II area, like you said, everybody's parents were in the military.
Yeah.
It was a military society, and now it doesn't feel like that, right?
And that's why vets will gravitate towards each other, and that's why something like Infidel Motorsports is awesome, because you can get that comradeship. And like he said, even if you don't make anything out of it, and even if it's just a one-time thing, you're seeing these other guys out there. Hey, we're still here for you, right?
Yeah.
We still care about you. And you got a Navy guy like Rob and an Army guy and a Marine Corps guy there. We're still here for you. You might not see it, and you might not know. It might not be as easy to access, but these guys are saying, hey, look, we're out here and we're trying to get ourselves known. So that's why this kind of stuff's important.
So if we have people that own businesses and stuff that are listening right now, what's your pitch to them?
The pitch I said to my work was just the fact that we're trying to save lives. We're trying to keep families together. We don't want, the 22 a day is it's unacceptable. There's always help, and veterans don't reach out for that help because they, like you said, it's like it's civilians. So they're like, well, how do I deal with civilians? I need to talk to a veteran. I can't tell you how many times like I've called Josh, and Josh called me in the middle of the night, like, hey man, I just need to talk to you. What's up, man? Like I get up out of bed, like I get my ass up, and
it's only comfortable talking to somebody that knows what you're going through.
Exactly.
Right?
You're just like anything in life. Like you don't when someone grows up from the hood, and then you can't talk to someone from the suburbs. Bombs, it's like I need to talk to us.
Or if you're struggling with addiction, you want to talk to someone that's recovering.
There's things in life I've never experienced that people want to talk to me about. I'm like, dude, I can talk to you, but I have no idea what you're talking about. Like I will give you the best advice I can. But veterans, it doesn't matter. You have that title. It's like, this is what I'm going through, and we can say, hey man, like I get it or I don't get it, but no matter what, I'm here for you, and we'll do whatever we can for you. And that's always been, I think, the connection that we've had with others.
What does this country mean to you?
Oh man,
you're getting deep, Downey.
Yeah, right. Hard. Yeah, man. Honestly, for me, I mean, the country has gotten really soft. There's so many things that just blow my mind. But I'm Generation X, man, and it's I kind of caught that last end, and just I think about it all the time. Like, God, man, like when for instance, when I was growing up, when my dad told me to do something, like I did it. I didn't backtalk, or I didn't ask why. I mean, I did at first, but then he corrected.
To back up though, his dad was a career soldier, Vietnam.
Right. Oh yeah, exactly. So, yeah, exactly. So I mean, well, even with my other friends, so it's kind of like, hey, do this, clean up your room, all right, and you just do it. And now it's like, even my kids, I'm like, hey guys, you gotta clean up your room. They go, why? I'm like, don't ask me, just do it, So, but man, just this generation, man, just it's good and it's bad. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad things coming out. Obviously, I focus more on the negative just because that's how I've always been.
But you guys are still fighting for the country in some way, right? You're still reaching out to the people that defend the country, so it has to have some deeper meaning to you than it does to somebody maybe that's out there bashing it.
Yeah, and the whole thing is the positive side of it is that if we can save a life, or we can motivate someone to kind of do something different and to follow in our footsteps, or follow in the footsteps of another charity, then that's great. Then they're doing a thing. My plan eventually is to really work with St. Jude Children's Hospital. I would love to do that, but I pitched Josh a couple ideas and he's really liked them. I don't know if he's blowing smoke in my eyes. He probably was. He's like, no, you're good, man. That sounds great.
Yeah.
But I would love to do that eventually. And I would love to actually kind of combine it with these two. But that's way down the road. I mean, we definitely need to make something of this charity first. And my focus right now is on this charity. Josh presented to me. I 100% believe in this, and I'm putting everything into it for
that's awesome.
our not just our brothers, but our sisters. People forget that it's a brother sisterhood, and because a lot of women out there go through PTSD as well, and they're more. And actually, I didn't even know this, but until much later on, but women are more likely to commit suicide versus the guys. And I had no idea. I saw the numbers for the women, and it blew my mind. I was like, oh man, I feel kind of bad because I didn't even think about that. So, but with our charity, it's we want to be diverse. We want to it's everyone. It doesn't matter. Everyone, man, woman, it doesn't matter. We're here to help you guys, and we will always be there for you guys.
What about you, Josh? Josh, you seem like the leader of this whole movement, man. So what does the country mean to you? What you're getting behind these guys that have fought for this country, so you must have some kind of a deeper understanding, or what do you feel about this country?
Well, I mean, you know, I love America. I mean, that's why I did what I did. I have some reserved thoughts about where we're headed at the moment, you know, but I think that there's enough of us that can get together and make it together, basically.
Right.
You know? I couldn't really put into words the way I truly feel about our country. You know, it's in the blood.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, from a non-soldier, when I feel the same way about the country at times, where you know you feel like it's getting soft, or you feel like there's like this hatred toward it. But when I hear stories on this show, meet guys like you, like Chase, like Rob here, everybody.
Don't forget Marty. You got Marty.
Yeah, Marty. I see you out there, bud. But no, it does make me feel better that you know the country was literally built off the backs of guys like you. So I really appreciate that, man. And it makes me happy knowing that you guys are out there. When you do see the soft, you just don't hear as much about these kind of stories, you know. So that's what our message is with this podcast, is trying to get these stories out, man. I think if people heard a lot more of these stories, I think there'd be a deeper appreciation for the country that we live in.
You know, at least a better understanding. You know. So I just we love our country, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we joined. That's why we did what we did. That's why we're still here. But I mean, our country's it's a roller coaster. It's going up, it's going down, just like any other country.
Yes.
But just in general, you know, we're proud to be Americans. We're proud to be working with each other, and we're proud to be working with veterans, and that's what we want to do. We just want to help.
Right on, man. So it's Infidel Motorsports. Is that the charity name?
Yeah, Infidel Motorsports Incorporated, yeah.
Infidel Motorsports Incorporated. They can find you on Facebook. How? Infidel Motorsports 760?
On Facebook,
On
yeah.
Facebook?
Right.
Infidel Motorsports Inc. INC on Instagram?
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other social media we need to hit?
No, well, like I said, we'll get the website up and running soon. I think we're just kind of waiting for a last minute, details, and other than that, and then we'll actually start we're gonna start putting some clothing up there.
Cool.
Obviously, that's gonna be donated and stuff. So
Nice. You guys let us know when you get all that stuff up, and we'll
for sure.
we'll hammer it for you. And you
Thank
got
you.
anything else, Chase?
Awesome job, guys. Like you were saying, it's good to get out and hear these stories of people, because it's easy to get bogged down on the negative.
Yes.
You know, big thing when you say, what does this country mean to me? This country is the people. That's the unique thing about America. There's a lot of negativity and a lot of animosity, and there's a lot of bullshit on the news, and there's a lot of people that let you get driven away. But America is its people, it's its heritage, it's our history.
Right.
Every other nation on this earth, most other nations on this earth, where what their nation is their past. It's their cultural identity. We're an idea. America's an idea. The idea comes from what we believe is right and what we're willing to stand up and do. And the people that do that are Marty and Josh and Rob and myself. You know, the guys that are willing, the guys that we talk about, those guys that are willing to put their lives on the line and die for an idea. It's black, it's white, it's Hispanic, it's Native American. It does not matter. It doesn't matter if the whole culture of the nation changes tomorrow. We're still the United States, as long as we respect and represent the Constitution, as long as we look out for each other, as long as we're that beacon. Again, we can be the most hated nation on the world, as they say. We can have people in the streets fighting and rioting and destroying things. Those are the punks, okay? There's still people coming over here on rafts. There's still people fleeing to our country. Nobody's getting on rafts and going to these other countries. They're coming here because they want a part of what we have. It's the, like Rob was talking about, some of these kind of spoiled youth that are unappreciative of it. But if you don't like this country, do something to make it better. Right. And that's what Infidel Motorsports is doing. That's what these guys are doing. They see a problem. They see people that need help, that put their lives on the line or their freedom on the line or whatever that may be, and they're trying to help them. So this is what America is. America is these guys that are out there trying to make a difference. So as long as we keep doing that, I think we'll be okay in the future.
I agree 100%. Hey, thank you so much, Josh. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, guys.
And we really appreciate what you guys are doing. We'll push and help any way we can.
Appreciate it.
Keep up the good fight, guys.
You guys are awesome. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you soon.